My children told me you freed them from Zenchin's lunacy. Now I don't have to be alone. Children bring such joy, don't you think?
I wouldn't know.
You will. I will leave a prayer for you at the temple.
Then I'm certain it will come to pass. Thank you.
When it comes to speculating about the next game in the world of Ghost of Tsushima, I generally fall in the camp that the first game was only the beginning of the tale of Jin Sakai. It's such an outstanding origin story with its highly nuanced characters and themes that it begs a continuation of at least some of the cast, especially Jin. But it's going to take a serious endeavor to live up to the original game. So how can Sucker Punch give us something that progresses the legend of the ghost and balances fulfilling expectations while also subverting them? There are a couple simple things that I feel Ghost of Tsushima needs to do in order to make a worthwhile sequel. First would be a change of location. Tsushima was a great limited space to tell its stories in order not to overwhelm the player, but we shouldn't return there again for fear of reusing and rehashing all its locations. Mainland Japan, on the island of Kyushu, is a reasonable choice, where Jin gets to start over and rebuild his legend as the ghost, plus see new sights and meet new characters. So that's an obvious change. Next would be a change of enemy. This doesn't mean they can't tell the tale of the second Mongol invasion, but there needs to be a considerable change between the invaders of Tsushima and the potential invaders of mainland Japan. Combat expansion, new enemy types, new kinds of antagonists and factions, those are integral to making the sequel worth playing. Perhaps the enemy will be Japanese this time if Jin is thrown into a civil war situation and has to take a side. Nevertheless, I think Jin needs to stay true to his roots in fighting for the people of Japan, so he may only fight the worst criminals and otherwise avoid confronting samurai. And finally, most importantly, there needs to be a change in overall theme. The first game focused on the true meaning of honor and the dichotomy of tradition versus adaptation. It also focused on metaphysical themes like the impermanence of life, how our pasts affect our behavior in the present, how war changes people, so on and so forth. I think it would benefit Jin the most if we move on from the topic of honor and focus on other aspects of his humanity, other virtues and temptations. The Iki Island DLC was effective in grappling with other issues of being a warrior, and that shows that Sucker Punch wants to delve into more ideas in the future. So let's explore a story where Jin is in a new location, has a new set of adversaries, and has new moral conflicts to deal with as a protector of the people. But even if Sucker Punch makes all these fairly obvious changes, it still might just turn out to be an average story. What is it going to take to bring the sequel to at least the level of the original game, and even surpass it? How about I show you a scenario I personally came up with? It's 7 years after the first Mongol invasion, and a new fleet 4 times bigger is on the way to Tsushima. Lord Shimura, who is still the Jito of the island, has set up his first defense, a different strategy than before, and much more subversive. However, he was not equipped with enough support from the shogun to fight off the forces there, and he is thrown into the Mongols' hands. Unlike the time before, a new Khan knows better than to keep Lord Shimura alive, and executes him on the spot in the prologue. In the meantime, few people were given the opportunity to flee Tsushima and go to Kyushu by boat, and Jin is one of them. But Jin is not alone. With him is a young survivor, a child. And the child has a secret identity which may or may not be revealed to the player. But Jin knows who they are, and he is committed to taking care of them. Jin's main objective is to tell the mainland to prepare for imminent invasion, and goes around Kyushu making new alliances, fighting bandits and criminals, all the while taking care of this child, in the style of Lone Wolf and Cub. Perhaps we may see a few reprised roles. Maybe Yuna has also made it to the mainland, and Kenji. We may even find Tomoe's inn and recruit her to join us in the fight, or perhaps have her help with babysitting the child. Jin, who has hidden his identity, ends up making an unlikely alliance with a prominent samurai lord. This lord is one of the generals for the defense of Western Japan, and this is how Jin joins the campaign on an official level. The bulk of the main story surrounds this campaign, and the eventual friendship and bond that builds between Jin and the samurai lord. The general ends up becoming very fond of Jin, and when Jin's identity finally gets revealed in some unexpected way, the samurai lord takes pity on him and secretly chooses to protect him. When the invasion is over, he grants Jin a new identity and life as a retainer, and he can bring anyone with him that he pleases, if it would be Tomoe or Yuna or even someone else. However, when it comes to the child, Jin is conflicted. Should the child be left to live a normal life, or should he adopt the child and take the risk of raising them while secretly branded a traitor? What if we take this story a little bit farther? Maybe this is no ordinary child. What if this is actually Jin's cousin? Yes, the child is actually the new heir of Lord Shimura, only 5 or 6 years old, who was put in Jin's care and he was sworn to protect. There are blood ties between them, and the child is the only tether Jin has to his uncle and his old way of life. Still, he is conflicted if he should raise the child or let it be raised by others to become a samurai noble. Maybe even in the care of the samurai general who is protecting Jin now. Also, what if the child is old enough to have become attached to Jin and wants to stay with him at all costs? What is the right thing to do? It's a point where Jin has his own dilemma similar to Lord Shimura, when, out of a sense of personal responsibility, he feels he must let go of the child that he grew too attached to. Jin already knows what it's like to lose his parents, but few things can prepare him for the feeling of losing a child. I would love to see Jin be put in a situation like this, and maybe the game would even give options of what to do. Since Ghost of Tsushima ended so tragically, I'd hope this game might have happier options. Because Jin isn't Lord Shimura, he may choose personal happiness over a sense of duty. I would love to see Jin finally live a normal life, ending the exile he was put under for so many years. Yuna or Tomoe or even someone else could become his wife, depending on choices he makes in the game. And he can also choose if he wants to raise his cousin as his own daughter or son. The best ending would be for all of them to live together as a family, no longer on the run and living in peace. The ghost legend fades as Jin puts away the mantle, but he still keeps his armor just in case the need arises, or his samurai lord asks for his aid. Thus is the beginning of a new Sakai clan. If the game goes into alternative endings, perhaps Jin can decide to remain alone, instinctively knowing that Japan needs his skill. Thus, he continues his exile and remains the ghost. He may even start his own clan, secretly teaching others the way of the ghost, and this is the beginning of Japan's first shinobi clan. So in the end, I think the best path for Jin Sakai in the sequel is to actually perform a reverse of what happened to him in the first game. He lost his whole family and everything he cared about. Now he has a chance to get it all back. The first game, he grappled with being someone's heir and the expectations attached. Now he grapples with wanting to be a father and mentor and have a meaningful legacy. I think it would be beautiful to make Jin have a sort of revelation where he realizes what it must have been like to be his uncle, to fall in love with a child not his own, and be conflicted over his right to control the child's fate. It could give Jin immense feelings of regret and empathy, but confronting such feelings results in a great maturing of his character. He never fully understood what Lord Shimura was going through, but now he is forced to walk in his shoes. Still, Jin is his own man, and he can choose the destiny he wants. He doesn't have to choose duty over himself yet again. Hasn't he sacrificed enough? But whatever he chooses, it's his decision alone. He is the master of his fate, and allowing the player to choose the ending for Jin will make a very rewarding experience. This is just a basic outline of something I would like to see for a Ghost sequel, and I don't expect Sucker Punch to do anything close to it. But if it ends up having that wolf and cub theme, which is such a classic samurai trope, I think it would be really exciting to see, because I've always wanted to see Jin go to the next level, to become a father and not just a ghost. I know it's been done multiple times in other video games and film, but the parent-child dynamic was always intrinsic to Ghost. So I think the sequel can give it its own twist and make it something really special for all of us to see. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. It's been a very rewarding year on many levels, and I hope you all stay tuned for next year. 2023 has a lot brewing for Ghost of Tsushima, both to do with a sequel announcement, which I think is destined to come out, and there will be more news on the Ghost movie adaptation. If you want to follow this news along with me, I'll be covering anything significant alongside other video essays or edits that I make. So for now, I wish you happy holidays and happy new year. See you guys next time.